My apples are not all the way done. You would want to finish yours first, and then you need to make sure you have these horizon lines that we created last time. We are going to add fabric to our table because we know that most still lifes include fabric. So I do that by just adding large diagonal lines. And now you can decide what pattern your fabric is. It can be any pattern. It does not need to be the same pattern as mine. It will need to be colored in completely. I'm making mine a checkerboard, but you could do stripes, you could do polka dots, it's totally up to you. Now we are going to color these in with crayon, but I'm going to show you how to do the table first. So outside of our fabric is our wood table, kind of like this table that I'm recording on right now. And to make kind of a similar pattern to that, I'm going to start with a black crayon, and I'm just making some kind of weird, wavy, horizontal lines, but I also do some of those kind of little like curved lines too. So they're totally different, and we call that organic, which means they happen in nature, and we know that wood comes from trees, so it does come from nature. I'm just adding these kind of weird little curved lines all over with my black crayon. I haven't colored anything in yet, I'm just adding the detail. Once I've filled in my table with the black crayon, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with a brown crayon. Now I kind of found a lighter brown, but any brown will work. And then I just added more lines, more detail. Once I've added more detail lines and it's really nice and full, I'm going to get one more brown. Like I said, I kind of used a lighter brown this time. If you use a darker brown, that's fine. I would find a different color brown, so for me that's the darker one. Now I'm going to color over all of those lines. When I have these big empty spaces over here that I'm coloring, I can be kind of crazy and less careful. I can do a lot of coloring. I'm not scribbling because I'm still making sure that it's completely colored, but when I get close to my apple like this or close to my fabric, I really need to slow down and almost kind of outline the space that I'm coloring in. So you don't have to color really super hard with this brown crayon, because we want to be able to see that those detail lines we made with our black and lighter brown, but I am still making sure that there aren't just any empty areas of white paper. Now next I'm going to go ahead and color in my checkerboard kind of fabric, blanket or placemat, I don't know, just some sort of fabric. I am going to choose, I think, purple and blue, only because my apples are like red and green, so I want those to continue to stand out. So I haven't really used purple and blue. I'm going to go ahead and use those colors. You do not have to, it's up to you. But notice how I outline a space before I color it in. That is coloring at a level 4. That is what I expect you to do on your project. Even though you might not be coloring in a checkerboard pattern like me, you should still be coloring with your crayon at a level 4. Now our background, the space behind our apples, is supposed to just kind of look like a wall. So I'm going to do a really simple pattern. We're all going to do the same pattern, but you can choose your color. We're just going to do vertical lines, vertical stripes. I think I'm going to do purple, but you get to choose your color. I also think it's easiest if I go ahead and flip my paper upside down, and then I can draw my lines that kind of coming toward me rather than away from me. And I'm being really careful not to color on my apples. Now that my background and foreground are colored, my very last step today is to use a black oil pastel. I'm drawing the stems of my apples. I'm not going to do the ones that I haven't finished yet, but I just kind of make a vertical curve line. And then I'm also going to draw a little shadow where each of my apples is sitting on my table and or my cloth. I start by making an outline along the bottom of my apple, and then I just do a little bit of coloring outside of that. I'm not coloring on my apple at all. I'm only coloring on the space below my apples to create a shadow.